Brandon Mitchell is the first deliberating juror to go public after finding Derek Chauvin guilty for the murder of George Floyd.
Watching somebody die each day.
And now he's making headlines again for attending the March on Washington last year and wearing a shirt that said, "Get your knee off our necks."
Either way, I was going to D.C. for this event, even if George Floyd was still alive.
The news of his participation has further sparked Chauvin's attorneys to file a motion for a new trial, stating there were multiple reasons why the trial was unfair for Chauvin. Chauvin's defense is seeking to impeach the verdict and file what's called a Schwartz hearing to determine juror misconduct.
And if the judge then thinks you've made a showing that there is, then the procedure would be to have the juror come in, summon the juror into court, and question them under oath.
Some of these questions from defense counsel and the judge may be asked of them as to why this wasn't disclosed, what the jurors' reasoning for not disclosing it was, and then ultimately whether, I guess, that quite frankly makes sense from all parties' perspectives, and then separately whether it rises to the level of misconduct.
Mitchell says he answered the attorney's questions truthfully during jury selection, telling them he hasn't participated in any police brutality protest, especially after George Floyd's death.
Both attorneys and the judge asked me all the questions they needed, and I answered them as truthfully as I could.
But it's still enough for the defense to appeal the verdict.
If I was his attorney, I certainly would. He clearly was making a statement, I think, by wearing that T-shirt at that march. And whether he answered truthfully or not regarding his biases.
But what could this mean for the verdict?
More than likely, this is a situation where the verdict probably stands. I also think that people need to understand that, this is part of the process, right? And so if ultimately a juror did commit misconduct in this case, the justice system and the Constitution is meant to protect defendants. And so ultimately that defendant is entitled to have a juror of 12 people that are not biased and that are honest.
If the judge approves a Schwartz hearing, it would likely be done before Chauvin's sentencing, which is scheduled for the end of June.